Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And coming up today, I'm going to tell you about some potential changes coming for Retribution on tonight's WWE Raw. And on top of that, I've got an update on WWE's plans for Roman Reigns going forward.
Plus, could a major star be set to return? And Paige looks like she's going to defy WWE. This is the news.
Well, let's kick things off by talking Retribution. They are the stable, Mustafa Ali is the leader, and this is the tweet from him yesterday. Tomorrow on WWE Raw, I turn this ship around. But I don't want you to change. I want you to continue ignoring the warning. I want you to continue having no faith in us. After all, having no faith in us is what made us in the first place. So, is it a work? Is Mustafa Ali speculating? Could there be something in plans for Retribution on tonight's episode of Raw? Well, the group aren't actually mentioned on the preview of Raw that's up on WWE.com at the moment, but that preview is, well, I mean, for a show that can be rewritten on the same day, you don't necessarily need to put too much stock into that. But I think if there's any group in WWE or any act in WWE at the moment that needs something new and needs a shot of credibility and adrenaline and threat levels and stuff, it's probably Retribution, right? Because, you know, the first few months, the first few weeks, they appeared throwing bricks through windows and setting fire to stuff and going, hey, producer, I'm going to push you against a wall. That didn't really convey the level of chaos that we were perhaps led to believe beforehand. Mustafa Ali came in and that looked like it was going to signal some kind of upturn, but that wasn't really the case. They lost their first match together with Ali as leader. They all got murderized by The Fiend, and then last week they lost to the Hurt Business again. They definitely need something more. They need a change. They need to shift into a positive direction. I've said a few times on this very channel that I personally don't think the group can be saved. I think we might be too far gone, but I'm interested in seeing them trying potentially on tonight's episode of Raw. If they can salvage this, I think it's one of the year's great triumphs. Let's see what happens.
Yes, this is definitely a group in need of rehabilitation. What are they, like 0-4 now, Andy? I feel.
Yeah, they've not had a good run.
Yeah, it needs like something substantial to happen tonight. Yes, Mustafa Ali is trying his hardest, as he has done, as most of the group have done on social media, to really put across the threat level of this. But then you watch Raw or the pay-per-views, and then they just get beaten, or they get DQ'd, or they lose a 4-on-1 numbers advantage to Bobby Lashley. If the big ship turning around moment tonight is just them getting a win over the Hurt Business, which I'm worried it may well be, that is not a make good for everything that's gone before it. They need to, a la Nexus, which is a group they're constantly getting compared to, decimate someone, or really mess up Monday Night Raw. And I don't mean by slightly rewinding the intro, Andy.
Yeah, putting a weird filter and having shaky cam when they do the ring entrance, that's not really going to cut the mustard. They, if you want to be chaotic, you need to actually do something chaotic. So, maybe they smash up the Thunderdome or something. I don't know. They're probably not going to do that, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, here's an example. I'm not saying this is going to happen tonight, but chaos is costing Randy Orton his WWE Championship, right? Not going 50-50 against the Hurt Business. Yeah. No offense against the Hurt Business. We're big fans of them here at WhatCulture. But, Apollo Crews didn't get over by just constantly fighting them. And yeah, I sense Mustafa Ali's gaggle of bastards aren't going to do the same. But we'll watch with interest nonetheless. And we'll preview Raw a little bit later on as a podcast. WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from. But let's talk next about a major return for Andy Murray. Cain! Except not that one. I'm talking instead of Cain Velasquez, who, if you believe the words of Rey Mysterio, may well be set to return despite whatever it was that WWE did with him the first time around. He, of course, was released from the company back in April. But Rey Mysterio, speaking on Ariel Helwani's MMA show, Mysterio said whilst he can't dig into the exact situation with Cain, he does believe he's going to be back in the squared circle someday, saying, I know for a fact that he's dedicated and very passionate about lucha libre and wrestling. I know it was one of his biggest dreams to be part of WWE. I don't think he's gone for good. I think he's going to make a comeback. I would really love that, and I think him coming back would be huge. Yeah, I love Cain Velasquez, big MMA fan of his, but they really ballsed up him in WWE, didn't they? They just sort of brought him in as a quick look over there thing, whilst they took the WWE Championship off Kofi Kingston in like 6 seconds or whatever it was. And then he had the 2-minute match with Brock, and then he was involved in the whole Mysterio's thing with Brock Lesnar. And then, as far as I remember, Andy, that was it.
Yeah, that was pretty much the run in a nutshell. A deeply weird WWE run. Not quite as weird as Rob Gronkowski, but a weird one for sure. Cain came in, and he wasn't the most natural guy in the world, but at the same time, a guy like that with that much athletic pedigree, I don't think you just, like, if you're WWE, I don't think it's wise to just burn him away after one shot or whatever. Understand, he might have been one of the higher earners who was let go in April, but I think he's worth another go, man. I really do. Like, he was fun in AAA, and what I saw of him there when he was doing the lucha thing, he just didn't feel 100% natural in playing the badass, worked MMA fighter in WWE, which is perhaps surprising given his background. But why not, man? Why not? Bring him back one more try. He might suck, but he might not suck. And that's what it's all about. Not sucking.
I think the difficulty you have is WWE is so used to presenting people by going, look at this person. And whilst Cain Velasquez is terrifying, and if you see 5 seconds of him in an octagon, you go, oh yeah, he's a killer. Yeah. Physique-wise, people are trained when watching wrestling, WWE in particular, to look for a certain body type. Yeah. So all you really need is your production team to just make one of those pieces that they're mint at by just like, look at this guy, he could kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Pay the UFC for some highlight footage, man. Just, get the wallet out. You can afford it. Speaking of affordable things, Roman Reigns booking plans, WWE going forward, WrestlingNews.co, Paul Davis with the report here, talking about, and you might have been able to put these pieces together yourself, but the report here is that Roman Reigns' ongoing WWE storyline is indeed leading to him forming a stable with the Usos, a heel bloodline, if you will. According to the report, the plan is to kind of play off on the reluctance that we saw on SmackDown this week. Jay turned heel, effectively joined forces with the Tribal Chief, beat the crap out of Daniel Bryan after that match. He has bent the knee, he has accepted his role in the hierarchy, but he's not quite 100% convinced yet. We're probably going to see something similar with Jimmy. Jimmy, of course, isn't scheduled to return until December, January kind of time. Serious knee injury, still recovering. We've seen him on TV, but he's been hobbling around a little bit, poor Jimbo. But when they come back, the Usos are apparently going to be in line for a run with the SmackDown Tag Team titles as well as part of this stable gimmick here. A direct quote from one of Davis's sources. I cannot talk today, man. The source says that the story is meant to elevate Roman, but also bring Jimmy and Jay up to the next level as well. Very happy to hear this. I think it makes all the sense in the world. Usos, for me, like legitimately one of the best tag teams in WWE history. I think their track record backs that up. Booking them alongside Roman makes just so much sense. And stuff's been really good so far, so I have no reason to believe that will change over the coming months.
No, absolutely. I think this is a great idea. Love the ending to SmackDown this week, and you look at the potential of having. We'll get on who Roman could face at WrestleMania, but I'd absolutely have the Usos holding gold alongside Roman. I think it works perfectly. It's a wonderful visual, and that slow turn. I mean, the microcosm of which was Jay on Friday night, of course, makes all the sense in the world, and. Yeah, it's a really, really exciting storyline that you can plot all the way to WrestleMania, in my opinion, from right now. But we'll delve into that in a little bit more detail in due course when we get to our Twitter questions. Let's continue by talking instead about Paige, who says she plans to continue streaming on her Twitch account despite WWE's newly enforced third-party content ban on one of her live streams over the weekend. She said, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, I don't have a lot going on, you guys. I really don't. I feel really happy today because of all the support that was given. I don't have a lot going on, so this is really special to me. I'm always one that speaks my mind. Good for her, Andy, because all this third-party bollocks is, well, bollocks.
Yeah, sticking it to the man, brother. I love to see it. We spoke about this in great length on Friday, obviously, but it's a very callous thing for WWE to do when, you classify people as independent contractors and then you still expect to enact this level of control over them when you are really quite drastically underpaying these people in the first place when compared to other professional sports. And I'm not talking in terms of the baseline dollar amount, because all right, Buddy Murphy, right, is not going to earn LeBron James' salary, but as a percentage of revenue, professional wrestling sits something like 8%, whereas most professional sports leagues are up there at 50%. So it's a whole deal. It's the kind of thing we could talk about for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 430 minutes. This is going to be an interesting situation to follow here. What level of control are WWE going to try and enact on Paige now? How's she going to react and so forth? What could this mean going forward? We know that a bunch of wrestlers have spoken to Andrew Yang, the Democratic politician. And obviously it's a very interesting time in American politics at the moment with the election this week. So big ramifications for all this stuff coming up, I feel. And I can't help but feel we'll be standing here talking more about stories related to this in the very near future.
Yeah, we'll update you with details as and when we get them, but this could well turn out to be a PR nightmare for WWE if things go the way I sense they may well be heading. But let us know your thoughts on that, and let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Steve Faso, WooGuy8286 on Twitter, who says, did I miss something or did nobody talk about Walter's epic masterpiece from NXT UK this week? Andy, you watched it. And by the way, if you want to hear us talking about it, there's a video up on the channel right now from Simon Miller all about this bonkers match. But Andy, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I watched it on Sunday. That was my Sunday morning treat. And it was my favorite match of the COVID era so far. Just bare bones, stripped back, straightforward, bruising, ugly, disgusting professional wrestling that built on their history from other promotions as well, but also furthered their NXT UK storyline with Dragunov being the only guy to pin Michael Hamflett successfully so far. I don't really want to sit here and wax on it because, Simon Miller's done that to great effect, and I could do that all goddamn day, and I don't want to spoil any of the finer points of this match, but the disdain in Walter's work as he's just launching this little dude around the ring, dropping him on his head, chopping his chest raw, making that chest look like hamburger meat, combined with Dragunov's fight, fire as a babyface and his comebacks and his selling and his bumping. It's one of the best matches of the year, empty arena era or otherwise. And look, it's on WWE Network. If you got a subscription, you can watch it for free, I guess. So go and check it out. It's awesome.
In summary,
yeah, pretty much.
And just think this time last year, he was getting jobbed out at Survivor Series dressed like a big baby. So
yeah.
Second question today comes from James, aka Chunk, who says, now Jey Uso has turned heel and joined the tribal chief. Do you think this is going to lead to him eventually turning on Roman along with his brother and bringing in the real head of the family, The Rock, to settle it all at WrestleMania? Loads of theories swirling around this one.
Yeah, loads of stuff going on. I don't necessarily know if that's how the Rock's involvement in this feud will come. I do think we'll see The Rock and in some capacity, even if it's just the little, the little Zoom call that he did for Ken Shamrock in Impact, which was a lovely touch, by the way. But I don't know if it'll be an Uso turn. I think that with the story we've just reported this morning, I think we'll see them alongside Roman for quite a while, particularly as Jimmy isn't cleared to wrestle until probably January at this point. And if he did that and built to WrestleMania and they turned again, it would kind of be a lot of stuff going on at once, right? So I think The Rock will come in through different means. I wonder if the Usos will bring in their father, Rikishi, for some kind of bit. That would be fun. I'd like to see that. But no, I don't think that's how it will go down, but I do think we'll see The Rock.
What I like about this is there's so many different ways this could go. Like you say, Rikishi could come back. I've heard Jacob Fatu's name being mentioned, which, I mean, I sense it's probably impossible now, but, who knows. But I still really like the idea of, yes, The Rock being involved. I would love him to be in a match with Roman at WrestleMania. Will that happen with the, movies and stuff for The Rock? Who knows? If you're not going to be able to get him, or like you say, Andy's just going to have him involved in storyline but not wrestling, Big E wins the Rumble. Roman beats Bryan at the Rumble. It's so there for you. It's so easy. And you can even have, the New Day challenging the Usos for the tag titles because that's always a mint match.
Yep.
And, that would work really well with what we were talking about earlier on. Final question today comes from Christian Hilton, who says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Christian. With Survivor Series coming up, could you imagine if AEW and the NWA did a show with the Survivor Series model?
I think that's a good idea and an interesting one. I do believe there's something bubbling with the NWA and AEW at the moment. Don't know for sure. It's just what's going on in my massive bald head at the moment. I think that would make a lot of sense. It's like a special episode of Dynamite, perhaps. You can't call it Worlds Collide because that's a WWE thing, but you come up with some fancy name. Promotions fight. That's awful, but it'd be good. Yes, I've lost my train of thought totally, but I think that'd be cool. There's all kinds of interesting matches you can have there, from getting Nick Aldis involved to people like Zicky Dice, Thunder Rosa, obviously, although she's not the women's champion, NWA women's champion anymore. You could do her versus Serena Deeb for the third time. That'd be pretty sick. Lots of exciting things they could do with this, and I'd love to see it.
Yeah, love that idea. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and just something nice to cheer you up on a Monday. Saw this doing the rounds on Twitter on Instagram over the weekend from Kofi Kingston, who shared a lovely photo of him with his family, dressed as a big dragon, saying, "Well, after 7.5 years, I finally got to be home on Halloween with my family to go trick or treat with my kids. Literally the first time in 7.5 years. I'm still on cloud 9." Lovely, this, Andy.
It's just nice, isn't it? A bit of niceness to brighten up your Monday, because the world is kind of rubbish at the moment, and you love to hear wholesome content from the great Kofi Kingston.
I still reckon Kofi and his family could do a better ending than to Game of Thrones than whatever it actually happened in real life.
Well, brother,
I'm still not over it. Still not over it.
You're speaking to the one guy in the world who liked the Game of Thrones ending, but I'm sure Kofi could come up with something cool.
Let's wrap up quickly on that note then. Let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. As I said earlier, myself and the Dandy Boys looking ahead to Monday Night Raw later on today. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray
at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hamlet, chopping Ilya Dragunov's face and chest over and over.
To work with him. Follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilbur. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.